Hello, Algebra 1B students. This is your midterm Jeopardy problems at PowerPoint review in case you didn't get them all done or you need to turn them in, or for whatever reason, if you weren't here, this is what was done in class. I have the number of the slide, and the problems actually start with slide number 3. And so here we go. You're working with just order of operations. You could see here I did the division first. I brought down the subtraction, and I also did the multiplication, because division and multiplication, when we're thinking of PEMDAS, we do them at the same time in the same step. As long as you're showing, a couple steps here, you're good. And then you just work from left to right, and you should get 9. Here's number 4. I did the multiplication first, and then the division, and then the subtraction. I did what's in parentheses first, then I did the exponent, and then I worked from left to right. Also, when I did this one, I also did the multiplication in there because that wasn't going to hurt anything. And what's the order of operations for number 6? It is PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division. Multiplication and division, you just work left to right, together. And addition and subtraction will come last. For number 7, follow along here. I kind of just, do the numerator, do the denominator order of operations. I did the exponents. Down here, I did the division. It wasn't going to hurt anything. And then I did the division. And then I did the addition. And this, I already had my answer. And then I just simplified the top and the bottom. I divided by 4. And I see a mistake. If I divide the top by 4, it is 5. Okay. Number 8, your answer to pi is it's an irrational number. Number 9, name the 5. Here's the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to show you how they go together. All numbers, or all sets of numbers, real numbers, all set of real numbers, you have rational, integers, whole, and natural. And you also have a set of real numbers that are called irrational, such as pi. This symbol, which equals 3.14, and it goes on and on and on. Number 10, that example that they gave you there, let me pull this up real quick. 10, it was -3, that's an integer. Number 11 is 0, that's a whole, the smallest category it fits into is a whole number. Number 2, by smallest, I mean like the smallest division, and 12, going from the smallest to the largest groups. So that puts that into perspective, number 10 and 12. Number 13. For number 13, you just had to put 8x minus 2x, and that's just becomes 6x. And I think I just copy these down. So here's the problem. So here's the problem in slide number 14. Just combine your like terms. 15, you use the distributive property, and then combine your like terms. 16, just combine your like terms. I put my x3s together. I put my x2s together. I put my x's together. There's no other one with just a regular x, so that just comes down here. And there's nothing without an x. And it's just -30, so -30, -30. Okay, here I use the distributive property 3 times, and then I combine my like terms. 18, I'm putting my terms together, and then I divide both sides by 10. And number 19, I combine my like terms, add 3 to both sides, and then divide by 5. Number 20, I use the distributive property, combine my like terms, get the variable on one side. Hopefully you're pausing this as I'm going through this rather quickly. Use the distributive property, combine your like terms, isolate the variable. I ended up getting 12.4, I don't know, 22 Use the distributive property, combine your like terms, isolate the variable. It's got x equals 123. Number 23, they asked what percent of 90 is 36. Let me get the exact wording of that. Oh, the daily recommended intake of vitamin C for men 18 years of older is 90 milligrams. If Chaz already had 36 milligrams, of what percent of the daily recommended value has he consumed? So 36 is what percent of 90 is what I'm trying to say here, and it ends up being 40%. I just divided both sides by 90. I get 0.4. To change this n into a percent, to get your answer percent, remember, move the decimal 2 places to the right. 24, word problem there, ends up being $1.50 per mile, and there's a $3 just regular charge, and he paid $30. So how far away does he live from the airport? That would be $18. Okay, this one, we have cartridges. How many cartridges? If each individual copier costs $675 and you got 2 of them, how many cartridges would there be if you paid $80 and the total cost was $2,310? Okay, so you just isolate the variable, and it ends up being 12 cartridges. Number 26. Let me get the wording on that one. Jack bought, 8 pairs of socks. That's what the S is for. So 8 pairs of socks plus 1 t-shirt that cost this much, and he paid this total amount. So what is the price of the socks? Well, I subtract $6.50 from both sides. I divide by 8, and you get the sock price is $150. 27, an average adult male's body weight is about 60% water. If an adult male weighs 180 pounds, what is his water weight? So you just find out 60% of 180, and you get 108 pounds. 28 ends up being no solution because it's the same on both sides. In other words, if I were to subtract 3w from both sides, you get 2 equals -5, and it does not, so no solution. When you work out 29, use the distributive property, combine your like terms, you get the same thing on each side. When you have the same thing on each side, this is obviously going to equal this no matter what number you put in for x, so that's infinite solutions. And 30, when I use the distributive property with that half of 4, a negative half of 4 is -2y, a negative half of 16 is a -8. And then I just combine my like terms, isolate the variable, and I have y equals 5. Here I use the distributive property, and I have the same thing on both sides. Even though it's written backwards, it's still the same thing, infinite solutions. And 32, use the distributive property, combine your like terms. I get b equals 14 over 12, or reduced down to 7 over 6, or 1 and 1/6. If I divide both, the top and the bottom by 2, I get 7/6. Hopefully this helps, and good luck with your midterm.